Cool. Hi, everybody. I am Asia, and I actually put the link to our Nearpod in the chat. If you are just joining, there's the link, and then there's also the code, so you can jump on to join.nearpod.com or log into your own Nearpod and put that code in the top left-hand corner. Hopefully, you all joined the right session, Nearpod for test prep. So we're going to go over tons of test prep information that the company has come out with, and I'm going to walk you through some resources, let you play around a little bit, talk about how we can make test prep a year-long event and not just a last-minute thing. So hopefully I have 17 people in a Nearpod. Highly suggest joining. I've got lots of materials, lots of links for you that you will be able to take away. And if you do miss something, no worries, because I am going to provide the student pace link to Carrie and Stephanie, so that when all these recordings come out, you will have the link to the slide deck and to the actual student pace Nearpod. So I'm going to go off and running. Feel free to use the chat. Samantha's here. She's absolutely wonderful and lovely so far. So if you have any questions, please use the chat or unmute. Either one works. Before we get started, just kidding. I'm going to actually share my screen because in reality, we all need that, right? Share. Okay, hopefully you can see the screen that says take notes. This is the second slide to our Nearpod. So I always encourage people to take notes on any Nearpod that you're in. This is a great feature. So even when you are presenting to your students, there is a little piece of paper and pencil button on the right-hand side of your screen. Please click on that, and then you can choose where you would like to send your notes. You can send it directly to your email, your Gmail, Google Drive, or your OneDrive. And you can take notes on every single slide within our presentation. It also, what it will do is any notes that you take, it will send it to you, and it will be attached to said slide. So you'll get kind of an overview of everything that you took notes on. So please, highly recommend using that feature. Take a second, do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and chit chat about myself. I'm Asia. I am your customer success manager. Before I worked for Nearpod, I was an educator in the state of Maryland. So I worked in Montgomery County. Most of my career I spent teaching in St. Mary's County. I also did 2 years as a instructional coach down here in St. Mary's County. That's where I'm located, by the way. And I educating is my first love. Throughout the pandemic, I was in the trenches with you all. I virtual teaching, all the virtual interventions and things like that. And then I fell in love with the platform of Nearpod, and I started writing curriculum for them, and eventually fell into the customer success role. And I'm here, and I get to present to you. So that's a little bit about me. Today, we're going to explore all of our Nearpod for test prep resources. We're also going to review just the standard aligned resources, differentiation, multiple question types, those formative assessments, and then answer any questions or concerns that you have with Nearpod and test prep. So yeah, let's get started. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat or unmute. Either one's fine. We're going to start off with a poll question. How well do you know Nearpod? Are you an expert? Have you launched a few lessons? Are you brand new and ready to learn? I just like to know what I'm working with before we jump in and start talking through some things. So right now I'm in student view. What I'll do during the presentation, I'll try to flip back and forth between student view and teacher view. Student view is what you will see. You are playing the role as a student today. Teacher view is what you would normally see when you launch a Nearpod. So I'm watching our answers come in. We've got lots of experts. We've got people who've launched a few lessons. Wonderful. I'm able to see the breakdown as people are answering. Wonderful. Great. Looks like most of us are a little experienced. We know what we're doing. We've jumped in before. We've launched a few lessons. I can share that information with you all so you all can see the breakdown of where we are as a class. This is a great tool. We'll talk about polls later and how we can use them as formative assessments. So I like to share this little piece with you before we get started, and it gives me an idea of who I am working with today. So awesome. Thank you all so much for joining in. and answering that question. So first, while we're experts, a mix of experts and people who have launched Nearpods before, I like to take a moment, level set. What is Nearpod? What are we even talking about today? Um, so Nearpod, interactive platform. We try to make teaching engaging and easier through our interactive tools, our resources, our content. Everything is all in one place. It's easy to get to. It's easy to navigate. We've got tons of different engagement activities, polls, quizzes, collaborate boards, videos. The list goes on and on. We'll explore a few today and relation to test prep. I've also linked some self-paced training. I know that, professional development days are few and far between. And so I like to give the opportunity to let people know that we do have self-paced training for any new teachers, anybody that you think will benefit from it, and of course yourself, if you would like it. Um, so we have our beginning guide there, getting started, our self-paced course for beginners. I love those resources. You're free to click on them and save them. Again, you'll get all the links later on once the recording comes out, but I just want to link it there for you. More resources to just explore Nearpod. As you're going through and you're talking about the beginning uses of Nearpod, there are things that always come up. How do I create an interactive video? How do I access my reports? How do I even launch a Nearpod? How am I accessing lesson settings? Stuff that goes a little bit more deeper. So I'd like to link all those things for you. You can click on those links and keep those exploring Nearpod links before we actually get into our topic today, which is, I'm going to end up playing it, which is Nearpod for test prep. Last year, we came out with some test prep materials and the response was immense. So we, as a company, as Nearpod, has done a really big push about test prep, but not just test prep as a specific season, but just an all year round activity so that students are prepared all year round. And I will play a quick video for you, just kind of outlining the thoughts and ideas. This is an interactive video, so there is a question in here for you. I built one in. You don't necessarily need to do that every time you launch a video, but I love to use interactive video. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Hopefully you can hear it once I play it. Hear it? Okay. So as a teacher, I put an interactive question in and I asked you, when do you normally begin test prep for testing season? There's no right or wrong answer. What I could do, I could hide names, but we're all adults. No one's gonna, really do the most with the questions. So yes, I see Q2, little things all year round, October, about a month before testing window opens. Yes, I love that you talk about it during collaborative planning. I wish I'd done that more when I was in the classroom about a month before. Okay, third Tuesday in January. That's very specific. I love that you're like third Tuesday in January, test prep starts, baby. We have, yes, library media, awesome. January, December, great, wonderful. All honestly, what I would have answered and I think when I was in the classroom, I was in the testing grade. I was in the first testing grade, third grade for most of my career. So I knew as soon as we came back from winter break, we had to start talking about test prep. We had to kind of almost put things on pause and talk about getting prepared for this test, start using that language. And that's what I would have definitely answered. I think we all are kind of on the same page, authentically, intentionally. I love that. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to keep playing the video.
You're able to hear from every student and see how they're doing over the course of a lesson to improve and make changes so that you can be in alignment with what they need.
Great. So very much like the video was kind of point out, test prep is not a season, and it's a key part of daily instruction, guiding teachers and making decisions to support every learner. Our goal is to make it easier for you. So we're going to go through a ton of stuff that we've kind of outlined to hopefully make it a part of your everyday instruction in little ways and in big ways. And hopefully it becomes test prep is just a part of what we do. And hopefully you can do that a little bit easier with Nearpod. So we're going to start with those engaging lessons and activities. We're going to start from the basics, which is the Nearpod library. We have thousands, over 25,000 lessons, activities, videos already ready that are for you to teach. You can launch directly from the library if you would like to. We've got those standard aligned lessons. We've got activities. You can filter by grade level, standard, subject, activities. And then, of course, you can always edit and duplicate lessons to kind of appeal to certain interests or learning levels of your students. I'm going to quickly pop over to my Nearpod library just so I can go through the basics of what that looks like. So when you log on to Nearpod, you're going to automatically go into My Lessons just because that's what it defaults to. When you scroll down to Nearpod content, you're going to click on Nearpod library, and it's going to bring you to that screenshot actually that I took. It's going to land on featured content. Our featured content is very timely content. So everything that has to do with March, we've got it's Women's Rights and History Month, Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, Read Across America, National Grammar Day, Equal Pay, Civic Learning, St. Patrick's Day. We've got all of that timely content here. So that's where you're going to land first. And then when you keep scrolling down, it's things like, well, at the beginning, how to use Nearpod. So let's just start there. And then we have some of our featured things from Freckle. We got our Time to Climb, current events, core subject areas. And then at the bottom, you'll see Nearpod original videos, our Just a Minute series, and Nearpod VR, which we are going to explore in just a little bit. So I'm excited for that. If you don't want to go into featured content, you are free to click on your grade. We also have subject area in here. We have content type. So maybe you don't want a full lesson, you just want videos or just activities. We also have all of our publishers here. Lots of them, they change all the time and we add tons of people. If you ever have a suggestion, make sure you send it out to us because we love trying to get content partners to Nearpoderize their materials and their lessons. The big feature of our Nearpod library that I love to point out is filter by standards. So up in the right-hand corner, you can click filter by standards in here. You get to choose your academic standards. So you can choose Common Core, Next Generation Science, or you can choose your state. And you can choose your subject area. I'm going to choose 4th grade. And it's going to pull everything that we have for 4th grade. You can also break it down by strand if you would like to. So if you want fluency, if you want literature standards, things like that, you can click on it. It will tell you how many lessons, activities, and videos we have in that specific strand. So I like to point that out because our Nearpod library has so much before we even get into the very specific test prep materials. I'm looking at some elements included in the Nearpod lessons get blocked. Okay. Like our YouTube videos. And that is another thing that varies from district to district. Everybody has different filters. We do our best with our safe search on YouTube, but sometimes there are some like crosses there that don't necessarily, let absolutely everything through. And so we do encourage you to go in and test out, open a topic bundle, open a lesson, and make sure that you're getting exactly what you need so that you're not stuck in a lesson because of a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's definitely something I just wanted to mention to
Yeah.
OIT because our teachers can see it, but the students can. And
Okay.
we don't have a student mode as teachers, and that's something that my staff dealt with this year, and then some of them are very reluctant to even use technology. So for it to not work was then very
It's like, oh,
frustrating.
okay.
So
Yeah,
just
a
wanted to
lot of
bring that
that
up.
has to also do with YouTube changed their permissions recently as well. So some of it is based on what the content creator allows. So they don't allow outside third parties to stream their content. So it's not
Mm,
like Nearpod or our filter. Sometimes it's actually the content creator making that decision.
decision.
Yeah, there was
So
another one that got brought up and like someone sent it to me. So there was a thing link that was meant to be interactive. So it was under web content. And I knew to then look it up in Teams.
yeah,
And like thing link isn't approved for middle school, but just something to consider if there's like maybe a master thing that we can compile. So that way people know what to look out for.
I think that is Teams, but I will definitely bring that back to the group. That is a great suggestion. I understand what you're saying completely. And as we always say, we definitely advocate for following the curriculum. The Nearpod library is great for inspiration and to pull in
Yes.
pieces. And I know Asia would probably say the same thing. But yes, I will take that to the team for sure. Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Inspiration, additional practice, things along that line, which brings us to our test prep Nearpod library. Beyond our actual Nearpod library, we have a test prep library. All of these links are live. I am going to give you a little bit of time in a second to explore them. If you click on the middle picture, it's going to take you to our Nearpod test prep library. Am I? I don't know if someone's not mute or what's going on. It sounds weird. Okay, no, all right. But we have an ELA and a math test prep section that starts at third grade, goes up to 8. In there, you're going to find all the different types of skills that are going to be tested generally in your test prep. We have text evidence, perimeter area volume, um, context clues, and ratios. I linked these lessons as student paced. So you can choose a lesson and kind of go through and see what those lessons kind of have. If you don't like any of these lessons, you're free to click into the test prep library and choose something that you want to explore very quickly for the next, I'd say, 2 minutes. And then we'll come back and keep pushing forward. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to just kind of explore our test prep library. If you see something that you like, please call it out in the chat. I'd love to hear it. Is there test prep for science? There is. And the new updated, we'll get to the PDF, but there's a new updated PDF that's also coming in a little bit. So yes, there is test prep for science. Yeah, go ahead and explore what we have right now. And then if there's something that you love, please put it in the chat. Yeah, I give you 2 minutes. I should have pumped in some music or something. I'm sorry. The teacher wait time is not used to it anymore. I'm going to have you wrap up in about another minute or so at 51. I'm going to push forward. Please make sure that you can click on the title at the top of the Nearpod, or you can click on any of the pictures to go to the test prep library. So please go ahead and click and save that if you're interested in keeping a tab of the Nearpod test prep library. Again, if you see a lesson that's really piquing your interest, yes, awesome. Then your relationships, cool, awesome, wonderful to hear.
Asia, did you see the comment about science?
Yes, I
Okay.
said, so we have a document that has science review in it. I'm going to get to it next, but there
Gotcha.
also is a more to our test prep Nearpod library that has not been released just yet. So you'll get more science content, I promise. But I think the PDF that I'm going to share next is really, really cool and going to help with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'm going to push forward to our test prep activity examples. This is one of the coolest documents that we have, in my personal opinion. I highly encourage, if you click on nothing else today, please click on this document. I adore it so much. It is our test prep activity examples. So first, we're starting out with test prep terminology. I think of this like along with test prep terminology, things like analyze, compare, justify, all words that are used throughout testing, but we don't necessarily explicitly teach them in the classroom. At least I know I didn't. I'll speak for myself. I know I didn't explicitly teach what the word analyze meant. We did a lot of it. But for a kid to read that in third grade and be like, what do you even mean? It's like, you did that thing. But first, defining those test prep terminology terms is the first piece of this, not only for the teacher, but for the student. But then when you scroll down, honey, this is where it gets intense. I love it so much. So while you have these words like analyze, we have linked a lesson for you in each subject area from third grade to high school for that specific skill in each subject. So if you want to analyze an ELA, click on this link. If you want to compare and contrast in math, click on this link. I love this document so much. And as you can see, some of it is going to get updated. Things like synthesize, we've got a lot that we're building out, but are here. And then when you scroll down, the even better part, I learned pretty quickly that students won't have anything but that piece of paper with them, right? So what is going to help them? Learning how we need to post this on Twitter. Yes, you do. We do, you do, everybody does. This is an amazing document. Those templates I used to teach, you'll see later on in one of my examples that I like to teach students how to create their own graphic organizer. I like to teach you how to make a KWL chart or a Venn diagram or a clock face or a main idea and three details chart. These templates are linked here for you. So if you're in science and you click see more, it's going to take you to all of our blank templates for science. So these are all, I'll preview it for you. So this is a science Venn diagram specifically. It is blank. This is what you'll see. You have it here. And you can launch it as is. You can edit it and put in your own details, but these are just blank examples to share with students. So yeah, like I said, that document is top notch. So I definitely encourage you to save it. And then again, we've got everything here on math, science, ELA, and social studies for you. Questions about that? Where's the link to it? Because I love it so much, I will put the link in the chat for you just so you have that document. Yeah. Wonderful. Great. So we're actually going to move on from our library content. We're going to move on to VR and our simulations and for our interactive lessons. This is an additional piece that I personally think it's underutilized by everyone. I think people see 25,000 plus lessons, activities, videos, and say, okay, great. And then forget that we have a whole VR and FET simulation, like interactive activities. So I wanted to point them out as a way to kind of push kids, to those higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy, where you're kind of applying what you're learning and kind of putting what you're learning into that real world um, example. So we're going to explore Nearpod VR and our FET simulations. So Nearpod VR, I'm going to click, if you click on the actual button, it's going to take you to our VR section. There are four main components of our VR. We've got college tours, kind of speak for themselves, great for our counselors, media specialists, anybody helping kids go through college and things like that. I think our college tours are top notch. There's tons in there. Not everybody can get on a plane to visit a college. So sometimes you just want to see what it looks like. Great. Explorations, love these. So this is a great way for students to investigate, make connections, and critically think in the real world. Um, when you go in, one of my favorites is, well, you got things like self-determination, but I like things like exploring multiplication. It's taking students into a supermarket and they're looking at real world examples of multiplication. While this is not exclusively a test skill, this is a skill that I know that students are going to have to learn and even apply. These tests are tricky. You never know what you're going to get. You never know how they're going to expect you to, show what you're thinking or give an example, explain what I always say in math. Like sometimes you got to explain your thinking in math in words. And, going into a simulation, going into a VR experience and being able to tangibly touch and, be around a skill that you taught in the classroom is very powerful. And I think really creates a level of deeper understanding. I'm going to go back to our main page of our VR, if I can get there. All right. Then we've got field trips, also speak for themselves, landmarks, national parks, historical events, all things that could be great for test prep, as well as our Ignite series, which is really based in, you know, contextualizing learning. And it's kind of like the dynamic VR experiences, really great to introduce or to enhance understanding of a concept. These have built in questions and things within the VR, which is really cool. Um, so I highly recommend going in there and seeing where this could fit in at the end of a unit, at the beginning of a unit. So I'm actually going to give you a few minutes, maybe 3, 4, so that you can go into each one and kind of find something that that you think could be applicable to your classroom or to your test prep skills, something that students either struggle with on testing. Everybody has that thing, you know, fractions are hard in third grade. So when we went to go be tested on, fractions, I always knew like, I'm not sure how those scores are going to look. There's some great examples of VR explorations in there and VR Ignites that can kind of help deepen the understanding. So I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes to see if there's anything in there that you really can resonate with. If you do see something that's fantastic, please put it in the chat, tell everyone to look at it. And oh, cool. So some people know about FET already. We're going to explore FET simulation in a second, which is really cool. So yeah, let's go through VR and then we'll jump over to our FET simulations. Hopefully I am pronouncing that right. Is it FET? Please tell me I'm right.
That's what I say. So we hope so.
Oh, okay. It's like the difference between like GIF and GIF. Like what's right? Who knows? I don't know. hopefully you were able to find some cool examples of how VR can be used. And on this page, there also is a our top 10 virtual reality field trip. It says for end of the year, but I really like this article, this blog post, because it gives you an outline of the virtual reality field trip or thing that they're doing, and then how exactly you could use it in your classroom. So it kind of gives you like an idea of like what other teachers have done. So I linked that because I thought it was a really great resource to kind of give you ideas on how to fit it into your curriculum. Let's move on to PhET simulations. Some people have already heard of them, which is awesome. Yes, awesome, wonderful, energy and motion, cool. So PhET simulations, some people have some idea of what those are about. It is a really cool interactive simulation, but the way that we've done them is we've made them full lessons. Now, I tell people all the time, especially if you're new to Nearpod, you don't have to jump into a full lesson. One simple activity, even a group activity, is a great way to get students involved in using Nearpod, getting comfortable with Nearpod. So um, I'm going to tell you to click on the first link is just generally what is it. If you've never used PhET, this is a great blog post to kind of give you an idea of what PhET simulations even are. It's a way to explore and engage in math and science concepts, to put it plainly. Obviously, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more complicated than that. But to put it simply, it's a great way to engage in math and science concepts. We do have them for pretty much everybody. So when you click onto our PhET library piece, you can go in, you can preview and look at all of the lessons that are there. I did save one in my lessons already to kind of show you an example of what it would be like for a student. So I'm going to actually pop over to my lessons, and I chose the speed and energy. I'm going to go student paste. It's just giving me. Now my computer's acting shy. Come on now. Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to log in. I didn't edit any of this. Obviously, you saw me just launch it. So when you get in, it's going to start out with your essential question, learning objectives already built in for you. A lot of this stuff is for the teacher. So you can go in and you can edit it. Take this out for students if you want to. Today's lesson, it can be scripted if you want it to be. So you're going to experience forces. There's some collaborate boards. There is a VR field trip and kind of thoughts on, what do you see in the amusement park, talking about, the different amusement park rides, more collaborate boards for students as well to talk about your favorite ride. Another field trip, moving on. All right, here is the actual simulation like preview. When a student goes into a PhET simulation, again, this one is on speed and force. And so um, students are going in and actually playing around with the concept. So you can imagine this in, at the maybe even at the end of a unit or something, students going in and kind of applying what they're learning about a specific topic, making their predictions, observations, and then kind of applying what they've learned based on. So like this stuff, it's so cool to play around with, so cool. But then not only are they playing around and doing the simulation, they're talking about their observations. The next piece is open-ended questions. So they're talking about their observations, they're drawing their observations. What did you see? What did you do? And then explaining it. So this could be a really great way for students to apply their learning and also explain their understanding of the concept that you've presented in class. I will give you a few minutes because vet simulations are so cool. I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute or so to click through. If you have not used vet, I highly encourage it. Again, we've got them from K to 12, not just our testing grades. So even our littles can jump in and kind of apply their learning in this cool way. So I'll give you a quick minute. I know that we're going until what time? 25?
25.
Okay, cool. Yeah, circuits are always really cool. I honestly wish obviously I taught elementary school, but in another life, I was a science teacher because it's something about like just the cool stuff that happens in science. No shade to anybody else, but I really do love science. I wish I could have been like a science teacher to get up there and like help kids do experiments and observations and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I won't talk to through your last minute of it is pretty great. All right. Probably was less than a minute, but I got to push through because I want us to have time to get through everything. So we're going to talk about identifying holes in real-time student data. Nearpod is known for being able for teachers being able to jump in and see what students are doing and thinking. So we want to utilize that real-time student data in order to make academic and instructional decisions either on the fly or in the future. So we have 9 formative assessment types. We're going to highlight 4 of them today and kind of talk through what those could look like to inform your instruction around testing topics and around just general knowledge and understanding of students. So we actually started off our meetings today with a poll, and you saw how we can jump in, students can answer a quick question, and you get an idea of where the whole class lies. You don't have to share any of that information with students, but sometimes it's best for us to know, like, hey, they just aren't getting it. They're not understanding this. And this poll kind of tells me so. Keep it anonymous, keep it low stakes. In that way, students, are honest with you about what they do and do not understand. There's a great article that I've linked in here about real-time data and leaning on that and how to create those instructional next steps and individualized student learning. So if you want to click on that, you're interested, feel free. But today we're going to talk about polls, drag and drops, drawouts, and open-ended question. I have an example of all of them, and we'll talk through them. So how confident are you in creating a poll question in Nearpod? This could be an exit ticket. Obviously, I'm talking to you all today, but this could be an exit ticket. This could be, you know, even just how confident are you in this topic in multiplying fractions? Just a quick 1, 2 to just see where everybody lies. I would use this to create small groups, even an intervention group, or just figure out where I need to start on a concept after, a few days. Do we need to go back to the beginning? Are we fully understanding? Great. Based on what I'm seeing here, I think, most of us are good. Most of us are very confident. We have a few that need some practice. So maybe I'd pull that group really quick to just kind of go over, hey, this is how you create a poll in Nearpod and, kind of create that moment of understanding for that group very quickly. And then we're heading back or like doing our independent practice. This is a quick drag and drop. This I pulled directly from our Nearpod library. I did not change it. This is just an understanding of triangles. So you're going to help Sammy organize her cheese into different charcuterie boards by placing each triangle onto the board that correctly describes it. Refer to the picnic basket for the definition of acute, right and obtuse angles. And you can even click that picture to give an example of what they're supposed to do. So Hopefully you guys can't hear my dog, but yeah, you can go ahead and drag and drop where each of those goes. As you're working, I'm looking at my dog. Can you guys hear my dog? Please tell me you can. Great. There's somebody at the door, which is why he's losing it right now. I love to point out that as students are working in draw it's and drag and drops, there's that live teacher feedback. So I hope nobody minds that I'm going to jump in and leave you a sticker or a comment. Samantha, actually, you're fine with this, I'm sure. So I'm going to give Samantha a little bit of feedback. I love to give a sticker. You're doing a fantastic job. So proud of you. Now, it doesn't have to be a sticker, but it can be, it could be a note. It could be, great job, try again. Keep up the good work. That your student will see directly from you. It creates a great opportunity for you to make notes about student work and what they're doing. All of these things that you put on each student's work is saved in your post-session reports. So you can make a note about a student or what about their work. And, we all write notes, I'm sure. And go back later and say, what was I thinking about, Molly's work? What did I give her a good job sticker? Or did I say, think about acute and obtuse angles or triangles? This is a great way to just check understanding. So wanted to give you guys a moment to do that. Also, you can share student workout with the class with or without your feedback on it. So Molly, I hope you don't mind me picking on you. I'm going to share her student work and my feedback. So everyone should be able to see Molly's work and my feedback, my sticker. So another great learning opportunity. Again, I don't have to share it with I could just share student work and we have a conversation. Great. Awesome. And yes, dogs are the best, but I have a very bossy dachshund who lets he terrorizes this neighborhood, honey. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I gave an example earlier about how I like to teach students. I liked to teach students. I have to talk in the past tense. I gotta, how to create their own organizer. This is a great example. Again, I pulled this directly from the Nearpod library. I didn't change anything. It came with the directions. It came with the example, everything. This is a great example of, that process of creating and kind of using those organizers. So I would, maybe use something like this very quickly as an exit ticket or something, and then gradually take away the lines. I would take away those things and see what students do to organize their thinking. So not only am I testing out main idea and details, but also how are they organizing themselves in preparation for testing, and are they building those skills? So again, just like drag and drop, I can jump in and I can see what Kate is doing. She's doing a fantastic job. She's doing exactly what I taught her in class, which is, find those details, use those keywords. Fantastic. Wonderful job. I'm going to go ahead and give you a sticker because who doesn't love a sticker? Great job. Wonderful. We are kind of short on time, so I'm going to push forward a little bit, and we're going to in this section on an open-ended question. Do you have any additional questions or comments about Nearpod test prep? While this is about our specific experience today, think about the feedback you could get from students about a lesson, about where they're struggling, about where they think they're strong in, where they think they're good at. I did turn on the voice recording feature for you. So if you would like to record your voice, you could. You have the option of doing that for students as they're moving through a Nearpod, giving them the option to record their voice. I find it super powerful. Not only do we have the immersive reader function here, but we also have the record function. Not every student's going to be able to get their thoughts out by typing. And that is something that, again, Nearpod's great for. A lot of our tests are computer based. And this is a great opportunity to work on those typing skills, to work on maneuvering a platform in order to, complete a task. If you are not familiar, this is the immersive reader button. This is a feature that everybody has to turn on in order for students to see it. This is going to allow translation of any Nearpod slide directions. You can play it in whatever language you would like. If the student goes over to the book, they can choose from tons of languages. We are aligned with Microsoft, so any languages that they translate into is the ones that we do. There's tons here, so please check that out. Not only do we translate, but also there are line focus for our kiddos who need that. You can also, there's a picture dictionary option. You can highlight nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and you can show the labels depending on what students need. You can even break things down into syllables for our struggling readers who need that kind of help. Text preferences, large text, smaller text, different fonts, as well as different themes depending on accommodations and what students may need. So I like to point that out and make sure everybody knows that Immersive Reader is there. Wonderful. I'm so glad that you like the resources. I'm so happy for you. Yes, I love it. I love that I was able to help in that way. Absolutely. All right, we're going to keep pushing forward. Last thing we're going to end on is practicing a positive mindset. Testing is stressful for everybody, not just the student, but for the teacher, for the admin, for your media specialist, for your e-coaches, tech coaches. I know y'all are going through it during testing season. And so we always encourage everyone to practice a positive mindset. And we've built that into our test prep. We built that into our resources in our library. So I've linked here just 7 ways that social emotional learning activities can be used in your classroom, not just for test prep, for just today is Thursday. Thursdays are hard. I don't know. Mondays are hard. Anything is hard. So life is sometimes very challenging. And we want to make sure that everyone that's in our classroom, student, teacher, helper, anybody is in a positive way. So we're going to do 2 activities today. Sesame Street is something that I grew up on. I love it. I love that they keep up with the times. And so we are going to do some belly breathing really quickly. This is a very quick, short video. And while this is a younger kid video, your older kids will get a kick out of it and will do it. So I encourage you to just try it. They might say it's silly and they don't want Sesame Street this. Those 9th, 10th, 12th graders will do some belly breathing because it does help. So.
Hola! Today, I wanted to go outside and play with Elmo at the park. But my mommy and my papi said that I can't right now. It made me feel really frustrated. Yeah.
Now, this is open-ended. You don't necessarily have to answer, but some people might know about belly breathing, depending on your audience. Maybe you just want to get through the video. But I'm going to keep it pushing.
Feel frustrated? Or sad? Or nervous? Yeah? Well, my mommy showed me a way to calm me down whenever I have big feelings or little feelings. It's called belly breathing. Hey, I can show you how to belly breathe. Okay, everyone, put your hands on your belly like this. Very good. Now take a deep breath in through your nose like this. And slowly breathe out through your mouth like this. It feels good, right? One more time, amigos.
Okay, I'm going to pause it because we're short on time, but you get the idea. Another thing that I loved to do during testing season was um, give encouraging words to my students before every. Yes, yes, awesome. Third graders love to belly breathe. As I used to teach my third graders to belly breathe and like practice breathing. Um, Good vibes before testing. I also loved when students would write encouraging words to each other. So I just, yes, you do. You already are on it. Good vibes only, just a collab board where students can shout each other out, give good, positive feedback to each other. I love it. It makes everyone feel happy and tingly inside. So great way to just walk in on a testing day. Everyone log in and put some encouraging words up there for your classmates, for your friends as we take on another. Wonderful, awesome. So um, I'm going to go through some more resources very quickly before we wrap up today. Hopefully, I have a little bit of time left for questions if you have them. If we don't get to them, please put them in the chat and I will follow up. No problem. Nearpod for test prep. Like I said, we've done a lot of work in the area of test prep. Yes, fill out that survey, that participation survey. Fantastic. I'm going to actually skip to the next one because this is the bread and butter. This is a Nearpod test prep website. So it doesn't look like anything. Please scroll down. Please scroll because it's really important. All the important stuff is down here. We got our standards aligned library for ELA, math, science, and social studies already here, ready to go. And we've got information on real-time student data that you can click up here. It'll take you to some resources on leveraging that student data, walking you through those formative assessment types, adapting student lessons. We got information on differentiation in there for you. And then our multiple question types and the best way to pick and keep diverse formative assessment types. We also have a webinar series that has already happened, but you can go back and watch all of our test prep webinars. We have created a series basically that is going to take you through test prep throughout the entire year. So you're elevating instruction with quality content first, teacher-led differentiation. Our last one that you're ending on is creating tech-enhanced questions to prepare students for success. So we've created that series for you. All the registration links are there. Our Nearpod coaching course is always available. Our next cohort starts on May 6th. So I wanted to share that with you. We don't have time to do time to climb, so unfortunately I'm going to skip it. But these are the sources that I used today. Tips for standardized test prep, 6 ways to make test prep review fun for students. We've got a Nearpod educator journey resources, and then of course your Anne Arundel County Nearpod support page. So if you have any questions, I finished with a minute. If anybody has anything, feel free to unmute. I'm sorry that I took all the way up until the last second. Thank you guys so much. I hope that this was helpful and all these resources will be coming your way along with the recording. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Yes, please share those resources out. You're very welcome. And do that survey that Samantha put in the chat, please.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.